Hey, Eddie here from Set and Flow Yoga and Eddie Guerra Fitness, here to talk to you today about the use of space, which I said we're going to talk about last time. So in short, you're teaching your fusion class, your fusion Pilates class, your fusion bootcamp class, or yoga class. Use of space basically means be an off the mat teacher. So if you've taken class from a yoga instructor and they don't leave the podium or they don't leave their mat, then that would be considered an on-the-mat teacher, which is kind of old school in a way, right? Now, what more instructors tend to be doing, because it's more effective, particularly when it comes to teaching Pilates or body weight movement, or I would say even yoga as well, is that they're getting off the mat, particularly when it comes to, say, a vinyasa class, or say it comes to a boot camp or Pilates class. Getting off the mat enables you to see the student from all angles, so you can see whether or not they're doing something properly, as opposed to staying on the mat and seeing just one angle of the student. Now you can walk around and make better corrections because you're able to see, okay, is their leg engaged? Are their shoulders down? Is their core engaged? That's on the technical side. So being an off-the-mat teacher helps with technicality. On the real side, it also helps you to, which is a big thing here at Set and Flow, connect with the student, because you can walk around. Now you're an off-the-mat teacher. You can make eye contact. You can, refer to the student by name. You can give them a genuine compliment if you're standing right next to them, as opposed to being at the front of the room and saying, great job. You can be right next to them and be like, hey, like, awesome, like, really good improvement. All of a sudden, that proximity makes it a little bit more genuine, right? In the sense that now you're face to face with them and they see you and you're obviously meaning what you say, right? So that's what it means being an off-the-mat teacher. Getting into a little bit of shop talk, right? There's some, and I'll just speak from, I guess, yoga instructors that I've spoken to. Some yoga instructors are like, well, if you're teaching a yoga class, stay on the mat because you don't want to distract the student. And then other yoga instructors are like, well, they should be able to practice their yoga if you're walking around them, right? Because focus is part of the yoga practice. I tend to go with the latter as opposed to the former, particularly when it comes to teaching Pilates or bootcamp, because again, like I said, you can see them from different angles and you can make a correction or better adjustment. Now, real life, if you have a really packed class, say you have 50 and up in a fusion class and the music's going, the lighting's going, there's not going to be that much room for you to walk around anyway. So reality is when you are an off-the-mat teacher in that big of a class, you're going to walk more in the front. But it's still something. It also creates a different energy. And this is just case in point. If you're ever around a dynamic instructor and they stand up and walk by you, all of a sudden you'll see, or I'll just speak from my own point, I'll do more, right? Because I'm like, okay, they're coming by, I gotta like pick it up. So if you're doing that throughout your entire class, guess what? Everyone's kind of responding to you and their posture, their movement, their energy is changing because of that. So use of space in terms of that is basically being off the mat teacher. It's very closely related to body language because when you're an off the mat teacher as well, you can do a lot more mirroring, meaning if a student is in, say, I don't know how much camera space I got, but say a student is in Warrior 2 and you want to correct them, we talked about non-verbally, right? You have to use the space. You got to get off your mat, go next to them, and just even doing like this will help. Try that next time you're in class and you're teaching a class. As far as a student goes, your own use of space, just also be aware of that, right? This goes both ways. Because a lot of times, for example, if I'm teaching a boot camp class, a more experienced student will be more aware of their surroundings. A less experienced student will be less aware of the surroundings. So keep that in mind when you're taking class, and then when you're teaching class, keep that in mind that you have a beginner student and more intermediate student. One student will be more aware of their space, the other student will be less aware of the space. So that's pretty much it for use of space. I could go more into it, but we'll leave it at that. So basically, I would say bringing group teaching into a more contemporary vibe, be an off-the-mat teacher. Get a little more interactive, walk around the room. If anything, and this is just from real life experience, what I've seen, it actually makes the students' concentration better, and it makes them more focused instead of you staying on the mat. You'll be able to use mirroring. One thing about mirroring is that if you're into like the science of everything, which is totally cool, right? You're into the science of fitness, the science of movement. Good on you, right? There's this thing that we have as humans. It's called mirror neurons, and basically we mirror what we see, which explains the reasons why we're into a lot of visual stuff, like whether it be billboards or movies, or I got my iPhone on me right now. Your phone playing. Like my girl likes to play Candy Crush, but you know what I mean? Like or Facebook. Like we're very visual like that. So we have mirror neurons. We tend to mirror what we see. So if someone comes by us and they mirror us, then that's also a good use of your teaching time. One other thing about use of space and body language, for the most part, I think I talked about this last time, is don't turn your back on the student. So as much as you can, face them. However, having said that, there's obviously going to be times when you either got to turn profile or you must turn your back to them for whatever drill you're going to be demonstrating. Okay, that's it for use of space. We'll see you next time. We're going to talk about something else. Peace.